and welcome back to the Bene channel. I'm Rosie here reporting on this year's Campaign Nonviolence Action Days. Be sure to stay tuned for a quick recap of lots of amazing things that happened this year. Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota, Friends for a Nonviolent World had a walk for peace and justice. Almost 200 people gathered, with over 29 organizations participating. People gathered to share their stories of nonviolent solutions that they'd found in their community. They had bands playing, food, and great speakers. Friends for a Nonviolent World also hosted an event called Unbound, where they organized to work for racial and economic justice with a panel including Isaiah Min, Janae Bates, and George Lakey. In New York City, Pax Christi hosted an interfaith gathering near the United Nations. The activists hosted a vigil where they shared their stories, prayers, and songs for the abolition of nuclear weapons. They commemorated the UN's International Day for the total elimination of nuclear weapons, and despite the rain, they still made their voices heard. I was so glad to see some of my friends in the pictures, and I hope that you check out the great work that Pax Christi is doing. In Utah, activists also held an event for the abolishment of nuclear weapons. They had a march that spanned over 3 blocks, handed out flyers, and had people of all ages participating. Thank you everyone who participated in that event. In Hawaii, activists participated in a mutual aid effort by Maui Relief Mission. They collected $2 million in disaster relief and gave it to people who were suffering due to the wildfires earlier this year. It was a chance for them to hear stories from these people who had suffered due to the wildfires and hold them in prayer. Another action for mutual aid happened in Maine. Rivera's Son and Daryl Gardner and Skylandia Farm gave organic, farm-fresh apples, potatoes, and carrots to the local pantry at their public library. They gave over 80 pounds of produce, and that was enjoyed by many. I also got the chance to attend a very special event for Action Days. I attended a vigil by Nonviolent Louisville where activists gathered to remember all the people in the last year whose lives were lost due to gun violence. Here's a look at some of the video footage that I took while I was there. I was so inspired by the activists and so glad that I got to be there to call for nonviolent solutions in this new year.
Whatever size. Here's a quote from Richard Rohr.
We have to do small things and believe a big difference is coming. It's like the miraculous drops of water that seep through the mountain limestone. They gather themselves into springs that flow into creeks that merge into rivers that find their way to the oceans. Our work is to envision the drops as oceans. We do our small parts and know a powerful ocean of love and compassion is downstream. Each small gesture could lead to liberation. The bravest thing we can do in this world is not cling to old ideas or fear of judgment, but step out and just do something for love's sake.
And thanks again for gathering for the loved ones of those who were murdered, and to call for a wave of nonviolence, for saying or acting that you are a part of our family, and we mourn with you. For being committed to try to create a compassionate community rooted in non-harm. So we pause in the middle of this Friday back here at Jefferson Square Park, or Justice Park, to just take a minute to set a resolve and intention to help create this nonviolent compassionate movement.
We bring to mind the 97 other people who have been murdered, who we have remembered by name this year. They were community members, infants, children, and elders, and all ages between. They have been killed in mass shootings by co-workers and partners, and in random and terrible acts of violence. Each one was precious in their own way. Please repeat after me. We remember everyone who has been murdered in our community.
We remember everyone who has been murdered in our community.
We remember also all those injured this year when lives are irreparably changed by this violence. We remember over 310 injured in reported shootings, many others through other forms of violence, including domestic violence, and also those injured by hate-based legislation. Please repeat after me. We remember all who have been injured by violence in our community.
We remember all who have been injured by violence in our community.
I can't help but call to mind the people who have lost someone to incarceration right there, and having been in jail volunteering, that those people are carrying the weight of violence that's been happening for centuries. They just happen to be the people that have that role for whatever reason. And I don't know how to say it, but sending something that way,
They reached that.
their experiences can, they know that their experiences matter. And their experiences will be powerful one day.
This year's Action Days was truly a success, with over 5,000 actions happening all over the world, from Syria to Maine to California. This has been just a short look at all of the beautiful things that happened in about this 10-day span. I'm Rosie Davila, and from all of us here at Bene Campaign Nonviolence, thank you for tuning in, and good night.